I said this on my show before the break. Like, what happened to Trump? Where'd he go? Like, he did the big announcement and okay, we're off to the races. And normally, you know, when they do the announcements at the normal time, which is usually like late spring, it'll be late spring of this year. Then you see them go on the campaign trail. You see them make the TV rounds. You see them start to do some rallies and go to Iowa and go to New Hampshire. None of that's happening. So Eliana Johnson of New York Magazine must have had the same thought. And she's interviewed Trump before and she went down there. I love when Trump gives these interviews to people from what is clearly the left-wing press, though I think she's fair, and then expects it to be a fawning piece, right? I don't actually know if he expects it. He would like it to be. And he gives these interviews, and they never wind up being a fawning piece, and then he attacks the reporters, which is, you know, lather, rinse, repeat. That's what happened here. She prints the piece on December 23rd in New York Magazine. The headline is, "The Final Campaign. Inside Donald Trump's sad, lonely, thirsty, broken, basically pretend run for re-election," which isn't to say he can't win. All right. So she does sort of take us into what's happening. And I thought that was interesting because I have been wondering, what's he doing? Not much is the answer, according to her piece. She says, since his announcement, he's barely set foot outside the perimeter of Mar-A-Lago. For 28 days, in fact, he has not left the state of Florida at all. He is sensitive about this. He does not like what it suggests, so he does not accept the premise. Basically tries to tell her, I am outside of Mar-a-Lago quite a bit. I'm always largely outside of Mar-a-Lago at meetings and various other things and events. I'm down in Miami. I go to Miami. I go to different places in Florida. She responds, what he means to say when he says Miami is that his SUV rolls down the driveway, past the pristine lawn set for croquet, and through the Secret Service checkpoint at the gate for the 2-hour trip to another piece of Trump real estate, the Trump National in Doral, about 8 miles from the airport in Miami-Dade County. There he meets regularly with an impressive, ideologically diverse range of policy wonks, diplomats, and political theorists for conversations about the global economy and military conflicts and constitutional law. And I'm kidding, he goes there to play golf. That's Olivia's clever turn. I have to say, it made me laugh out loud. One advisor says his world has gotten much smaller. He is sensitive, she writes, about smallness. One advisor said when he was in New York in 2016, the whole world was coming to him. Now we've got the villages, and it shows. Former White House official says it feels like he's going through the motions because he said he would. And Olivia says, look, this is about his need for attention, which is tied up with his fear of boredom. He doesn't have anything else to do, said one advisor. What else can he do? Why do you think he saw Kanye? He wants to be relevant. He wants the limelight. He's thirsty. And the second is his fear of arrest. But Trump denies that played into his earlier announcement. He defends the number of people at his announcement, saying the room was packed, sold out. Olivia points out tickets were actually not sold at all. Guests were invited. The room was full, but it was not at capacity. Chairs remained empty, some more glaringly than others. And this is the final bit I wanted to read to you. Trump's campaign schedule, described to me as busy, involved 11 events over the course of the month. One event was the announcement itself. 5 took place at Mar-a-Lago. 4 were not events at all, but taped videos that were aired at events where Trump was not physically present. His response was to say New York Magazine's on its last legs. It's failing. The reporter was shaky and an unattractive whack job, known as tough but dumb as a rock. Now, I will say this. One thing you cannot say about Eliana Johnson is that she is unattractive or dumb. She is both very beautiful and obviously very smart. But, you know, Trump's going to Trump. And that is where we are. But it brings me to the larger thought of, what is he doing? Why is he sitting down there? And she's right, there have been no real events. So why not?
This is the invisible campaign for president, where we haven't really seen Trump since his announcement, which was itself underwhelming and poorly timed, coming on the heels of a disappointing midterm for Republicans, for which many blamed Trump's influence. But I think, Megyn, you and Olivia put your finger on the problem here. Is, you said, why is he doing this? The problem is that there is no why for him. If there was a why, he would be out on the campaign trail articulating that why, and taking advantage of the fact that he doesn't have competitors. It's just him and Biden right now. He could be garnering headlines, eating up airtime. That is why he sits down and talks to the press, because he likes to see himself in the headlines and he likes to square off against the press. He does thrive on this stuff, but his articulation of why he's running is to go back to what was. He doesn't have really a why for the future. And in fact, when he's campaigned for candidates in the midterms, Republicans are uneasy about it. They think he's causing them, as much, if not more, problems than he's doing good for the party at this point. And so he's in a tough place. He's in a tough place.
I don't get it, Emily.
With some
the
serious
Federalist
competitors about to emerge.
Yes. Now, the Federalists, I should point out, Molly Hemingway, all of you guys have always been very fair to Trump. So what do you, in your view, what's the game plan here? Or is there none? Is this folly for him to just be sitting down there, not doing anything with this? I mean, you could argue it's an advantage he has for all these months, just being the only candidate in the GOP field. Not really if he's just playing golf.
Right. Yeah. And the meetings all being, or the campaign events that Olivia listed out all being at Mar-a-Lago, I think is a good indication also of how serious the campaign is at this point. But that's what's tough is, there was this cycle with Trump in 2015 and 2016. We all remember it. This is it. He's getting more desperate. He's lashing out. He's really, done it. Voters won't stand for this. Even Trump voters won't like this. And the sort of pundit class tried over and over again to sort of say that the line had now been crossed. And it never turned out to be true because all of the other Republicans turned out to be worse than Trump. And it's always hard to predict exactly how bad the other Republicans will go and how bad the sort of other options will be. And if Trump is sort of savvy enough to maneuver himself into being a spoil or, the exact sort of thing that can be the contrast that voters will, latch onto and say, we have zero standards for politicians anymore, so you might as well throw this guy back in. So I don't know. It's really hard to predict that. But I will say he took a step in clearly the wrong direction again on New Year's Day. He posted on Truth Social a really bitter kind of rant against pro-life voters who he said got the big win at the Supreme Court because of him. He had a sentence on the Truth Social post that literally just says, "It wasn't my fault," like a 5-year-old, right? Like, it wasn't my fault.
Let me read it.
Mom.
Let me read it for it because I have it here. It wasn't my fault that the Republicans did not live up to expectations in the midterms. I was 233 to 20 wins versus losses. It was the abortion issue, poorly handled by many Republicans, especially those that firmly insisted on no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest, or life of the mother, that lost large numbers of voters. Also, the people that pushed so hard for decades against abortion got their wish from the U.S. Supreme Court and just plain disappeared, not to be seen again. Plus, Mitch, stupid numbers, meaning money, and then he also went into it. Yet another attack on Mitch's wife, Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, who served the country admirably, but now refers to her by this. I don't even understand. They say it's a racist nickname, Coco Chow. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. I know it's meant to be derogatory, and she considers it offensive. He can't get off of her. God, he's very angry with her and McConnell. But in any event, continue your point. It's not my fault.
And I've seen multiple pro-life groups sort of come out because this is a really big deal for them, right? Like, most pro-life voters would take the victory in the Dobbs case over winning the midterms any day because they see it as a matter of life and death. But multiple pro-life groups have actually proactively put out statements saying this is wrong. This interpretation of the results is wrong. And I think maybe you can make Trump's case in a place like Michigan where it was on the ballot, and maybe that's what puts Alyssa Slotkin over the edge, something like that. But overall, it's just not a sharp analysis, but it is a self-interested one because Trump needs a scapegoat. And Trump is always the scapegoat for establishment Republicans. They can always sort of point to him. But there's truth in all of this. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around, and he cannot escape it. And instead, and he shouldn't escape it, he's absolutely part of the problem in many cases. And so when you're pointing the finger at other people, but not being willing to sort of reconsider yourself, that's going to be a huge problem for Trump going forward because voters rejected him in the popular vote twice. And he's actually never won the popular vote in this country. And he obviously has an advantage in the Electoral College, but even that didn't go for him. So obviously he has problems too.
It's a new year, so let's make 2023 all about a new you. Thanks to Genucel Skincare, you can look 5, 10, even 15 years younger. During the Genucel New Year's clearance event, save over 70% off. 70! Genucel's most popular package, all their best stuff to take care of all your skincare needs. See yourself with those fine lines, forehead wrinkles, sagging jawline, dark skin marks, skin redness, and even those under eye bags gone right before your eyes. You really can make a big difference on these things. Genucel works for women and men, and it's safe for all skin types and perfect for skin of any age. With its immediate effects product, Genucel will promise results to you that will make you smile, guaranteed, or 100% of your money back. Right now, Genucel's top-selling hyaluronic acid serum is included absolutely free in every one of their most popular packages. Enjoy maximum skin hydration for a more youthful appearance. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 and enter MK60 at checkout. Every order automatically upgraded to free shipping for the new year. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60. GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.